For years, a quiet but painful stereotype followed millions of people around the world.
I can't believe
They
this
said
moment.
Filipinos can't
is for
speak
everyone who
real
believed in
English.
me.
They said their accent makes them less intelligent. They mocked the way words sounded when spoken by Filipino nurses, call center agents, teachers, and students. Online comments laughed at pronunciation. Memes spread ignorance. Even in professional spaces, some people rolled their eyes the moment a Filipino spoke. And for a long time, many Filipinos stayed silent. Not because they lacked confidence, but because they were tired. Tired of having to prove themselves again and again. Tired of explaining that English is not foreign to them. Tired of being judged by how they sound instead of what they say. Then one day, in a packed lecture hall at Harvard University, something unexpected happened. The room was filled with students from different countries. Some were confident, some nervous, all ambitious. The topic of the day was global English and linguistic prejudice. Most students expected another academic lecture full of theories and slides. What they didn't expect was the professor's opening statement. He paused, looked around the room, and said something that made everyone freeze. Some of the best English speakers in the world come from the Philippines. A few students exchanged looks. Some raised their eyebrows. Others smiled quietly. The professor continued, calm but firm. He spoke about how English arrived in the Philippines more than a century ago, how it became deeply rooted in education, law, media, and daily life. He explained that millions of Filipinos grow up bilingual or even trilingual, switching seamlessly between English, Filipino, and regional languages. Then he said the sentence that would soon travel across the internet. Accent is not a measure of intelligence. It is a record of history. The room went silent. The professor didn't stop there. He played audio clips. One was of a British speaker, one American, one Australian, and then, a Filipino speaker. He asked the students to identify which one sounded less professional. Some hesitated. Some pointed at the Filipino clip. The professor nodded, then smiled gently. All of them are correct English, he said. What you are reacting to is not language. It is bias. That moment hit hard. He explained that Filipino English follows consistent grammar rules, clear structure, and a rich vocabulary. In fact, many Filipino professionals work in global industries precisely because of their strong command of English. The call centers that run 24/7. The nurses trusted with lives. The teachers shaping young minds across continents. He asked a simple but powerful question. If Filipinos can't speak real English, why does the world keep hiring them to speak English? No one answered. Because the truth was obvious. Soon after, a short clip from that lecture was shared online. It didn't take long to go viral. Filipinos around the world watched it with tears in their eyes. For the first time, someone in a position of global authority wasn't just defending them. He was exposing the lie itself. Comments flooded in. I've been correcting my accent my whole life. I thought I was wrong. I was told to sound American to be taken seriously. This healed something in me. But what made the moment even more powerful was what happened next. The professor invited a Filipino student to speak. Nervous but proud, the student stood up and talked about growing up switching between languages, about being told online that he sounded funny, about doubting himself despite knowing he was fluent. When he finished, the room erupted in applause. Not polite applause. Real applause. In that moment, something shifted. It wasn't just about Filipinos anymore. It was about every person who had ever been told their voice wasn't good enough. About every accent that had been laughed at. About every child who learned to be quiet instead of confident. The professor ended the lecture with words that would later be quoted everywhere. The problem is not how Filipinos speak English. The problem is how the world listens. That sentence exposed the truth more clearly than any debate ever could. English does not belong to one country. It does not have a single accent. It does not require permission. It evolves wherever people use it to tell their stories, share knowledge, and connect with others. Filipinos didn't borrow English. They made it their own. And now, slowly, the narrative is changing. More Filipino journalists are being heard globally. More creators are speaking confidently without hiding their accent. More students are raising their hands without fear. The shame is fading. Pride is taking its place. Because when the truth is spoken clearly enough, stereotypes collapse. So the next time you hear someone say Filipinos can't speak real English, remember this story. Remember that a Harvard professor didn't just correct a misconception. He exposed a lie the world had accepted for too long. And most importantly, remember this. Your accent is not a weakness. It is proof that you survived history, culture, and identity all at once. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Like the video if you believe every voice deserves respect. And subscribe to the channel for more real stories that challenge the lies we've been told. Because sometimes, all it takes is one voice in the right room to change everything.